Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Loddy's Locks. Before I get started, a little update on what's going on just outside of my house. For the past few days, I'd seen a female blue jay hanging around a tree here. Figured she had a nest somewhere. Today, for the first time, I'm seeing the little babies hopping around. They can barely fly. It's absolutely adorable. But anyway, let's get started. I guess we learned last night that I'm not that good at predicting who's going to start the game off strong. I did have success last year betting on who'd win in the first quarter. Clearly not the case so far this season. 0 for 2 last night, and I'm 1 for 4 on the season. Where I have been successful is in reading the line. What do I mean by reading the line? If you watch yesterday's episode, you'll remember that's what I did for the two picks that I got right. The Pacers winning in San Antonio and the Rockets in Utah. It's not that me or you don't know NBA basketball. The fact is, throughout the regular season, it's hard to predict who's going to win. So if you spend time learning how to read the line, you can figure out what the bookies think will happen and then put your money on that. And hopefully my videos will help you understand how to read the line. Let's get going with my locks. Under 216.5 points, Cleveland versus Detroit. Under 215 points, Orlando versus Portland. Everybody wants to bet on over. Teams are averaging 6 points per game more this season than they were last season, and that number has been steadily increasing since the 2014-15 season. Same year the Warriors dynasty began, by the way. Those guys changed the narrative of live or die by the three when they proved you can win taking jump shots. The rule change, only 14 seconds on the shot clock after an offensive rebound, as opposed to the shot clock resetting to 24 seconds, is also contributing to the increase in points. And this information is very public. And if you remember, in episode 1, I alluded to this. The bookmakers pay as much attention to what the betting public thinks as they do to statistics and trends. And one other thing, earlier I said bookies instead of bookmakers. Both bookies and bookmakers create betting lines. It's just bookies operate illegally, whereas bookmakers actually work for the Las Vegas sports books. Now, let's take a closer look at this Cavs-Pistons matchup. See here, two teams have combined to score 224 points per game so far this season. If the bookmakers weren't sure whether the game would go over or under, the over-under number would be somewhere closer to that 224, 225, 223, something like that. The fact that it's way below their season averages suggests they think it's going to go under, and so should you. Lock number 1, under 216.5 points, Cleveland versus Detroit. One difference between lock number 1 and lock number 2 is that the Cavs played last night. So there will be a portion of the betting public who wants to take the under. The logic being they just played last night. They had to fly to another city. They'll be tired. In this game, Trailblazers versus the Magic, neither team played last night. And the over-under is only at 214.5 when these two teams combine to score 224 points per game. Both these lines are bait. However, the first one, Cleveland versus Detroit, is just a worm dangling from the end of a fish hook. This one is a steak dinner, twice baked potato, and a nice bottle of wine at the end of the fish hook. And you should know by now that a fish hook is not capable of holding on to that much stuff. Remember, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. Lock number 2 and final lock of the day, the under 215 points, Orlando versus Portland. When I was looking at the betting lines last night for today, I was planning to include the over in the Celtics versus Thunder game for the opposite reasons that I went under in these two games. If you look here, you'll see both teams have combined to score about 205 points per game so far this season. Now, if you look over here, you'll see the over-under is all the way up at 217, but it opened up at 211 this morning. And the betting public was all over it. This number is down now. It's only at 78%. This morning, it was up at 90%. 90% of the public was betting on the over. This is why it's important to follow the line movement. See here, line movement. Because I think what's happened here is the bookmakers thought 7 points higher than the team's per game averages was enough to tempt people into going under. They quickly realized they were wrong, and that's why you see the unusual increase in point total. And it is unusual for the point total to move so much in just a few hours. Let's say Russell Westbrook was questionable and then they announce he's playing. Then that point increase would make sense. But nothing like that's happened. If you went over 211.5 last night, Good for you. I missed the boat on this one, so I'm staying away from it. It's just the two locks tonight, but never mind my locks. This Thunder Celtics game is going to be lit. Thunder 0-3. Celtics not performing up to expectations, so both teams have a lot to prove. I expect a playoff-like atmosphere. I expect Russell Westbrook to be in full-on attack mode, and I can't wait for this one tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you learned something. Enjoy the games tonight, and don't forget to tune in again tomorrow.